What the labyrinth is basically it's a discipline and focus, like everything else is grounded here in the school. And what it is basically a maze or a labyrinth, and there's a designated spot, a room in the heart of the labyrinth. It's also known as the tank. And what the students are instructed to do is they're focus on that room, and the room could be classified as a symbol in there, or we may classify it as the void, which is then the person just focuses on basically a void spot in their mind, and allow the body to move like you see in the field work or the remote viewing. It's isolating all the exterior input, all the sensory perception, and you're basically blindfolded to the whole discipline. We even actually apply a little duct tape down to keep the blinders down, because you want to stay in as much darkness as you can, because any light is going to give you information, and the last thing you want to do in this discipline is rely on your senses, because this thing is designed to screw you up on that and promote absolute focus. So we'll start someplace in the farthest paddock you see out there, totally blindfolded, and their first aspect that they focus on is reaching the labyrinth. Once they do that, then they focus on entry, and you can bring up the word entry in your mind, and that's the whole focus. And every time we have a specific door that is an entry into the labyrinth, and it can change. It changes every time.
Oh,
so
okay.
It could be,
okay.
This thing is roughly, I think, about 120 feet in diameter, but it's actually much bigger than that. We started with that, and it's been expanded.
Yeah, it looks enormous. It looks like a fairground, pretty much.
It goes all the way around, yeah. And doors can be any shape and sizes. They can be what we call mail slot, which is a door just about waist high, and it's only about 2.5 feet long by a foot wide. We can go in here and show you some of the doors. You might be drawn to a section of the labyrinth where you feel the wall, but your knowingness has to tell you that the door is down there. And so it goes through the process of constantly staying focused in motion. And sometimes we'll get 1,500 people.
So, but the basis for this really is to kind of remove some of those things that might otherwise guide people, make them focus internally.
The rules of engagement are there's no talking, and there's no touching the walls.
Oh, okay.
So you're not allowed to walk down with your elbows on, and you're not allowed to feel. You're supposed to keep your hands in what's termed the C-knee position, and you basically focus, and you learn that subtlety in the mind where you slowly start being pulled, and you stay focused. And again, it's focus and motion. And if you're absolutely focused, you'll go to the next door into the next section of the labyrinth.
Sure.
It's like a rat in a maze. And we have some events where we start the whole group about 20 acres back in the solid forest back there. And they have to negotiate the entire forest, find the labyrinth, find the door, and then make their way through the maze to the specified room. And we have some very efficient students here that we've had, they'll come through, they won't touch a wall the entire time and make their way all the way through it.
Well, one of the things I wanted to ask, speaking of tests and challenges like this, you know, I took psych in college, I guess, and all of the psychic studies that I've seen today, with the exception of the Global Consciousness Project, which actually is showing results, so maybe that's not an exception, but all of those use these incredibly small pools of people. And one of the things I'd wondered about was that the Ramtha school has a massive body of students to draw statistical data from. Mm-hmm. Are you guys collecting metrics on success rates?
We have all that. And it's interesting because, you know, you can be young and vital and healthy and athletic, but the master of this particular tank or this particular test is a grandmother. She's 60-something years old. You know, she physically is tried sometimes to go through it, but she makes it every single time.
You guys can draw inferences from this data that other people wouldn't be able to draw, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because
I don't know if there's any conclusion to that actually, but the statistics are there.
Well, I mean, I guess one of the things, like with the Global Consciousness Project, because it's online, right? They only have this limited window into a person's psyche, and you know, who knows? Maybe there's interference from the machines. Maybe it doesn't transfer well over the internet, or you know, a number of different variables. Whereas you guys get to see this real, visceral psychic effect at work.
Mm-hmm. Well, the Global Consciousness Project is more looking at where a large block of humanity is all focused on some aspect for a period of time, that mass, and what they're looking for is the mass coherence en masse, that there's a nascent global consciousness that they're looking to define, not any one particular individual. And what we get to see here is individual mind applied to a challenge and experience and environment, and then immediate feedback
Yeah.
on that.
So
Like,
instead of working from a global level down to
Yeah.
a single person as an abstract, you're going the other way, working from single people up
Yeah.
to a larger concept.
So we
as an
have
abstract.
individuals that, when people first started the school, when Ramtha first started the school, everything was new and everything was like, oh my God, that's impossible. I can't walk blindfolded across a field and find a 5x8 card. There's no way I can do that.
Amongst thousands.
Amongst thousands of others. And yet, slowly over time, as more people accomplished it, that just simply took the raw philosophical principle, the recipe, and said, just do it. Don't analyze it. Don't hypothecate. Just try it. Try the philosophy out and see what happens. And it happened, and people did it, and then more people did it, and now it's common. We'll have a group of 200 beginners, and a third of them will find they'll put on the blindfold, stagger around for a moment, they'll get focused, they'll apply the discipline, and they'll walk right to that card.
That's an incredible success rate. That's
It's huge.
Astronomical.
It's huge. And because it's becoming more common in all of the different disciplines, we're growing from those individuals who are, the first person, is it luck? The second time, is it coincidence? But when you get those kind of trends, there's a level of acceptance that permeates the society. And it permeates on a larger and larger scale as the collective begins to make it more common practice.